Most people hear the name Epicurus and immediately think of lavish banquets, endless wine, and indulgence in every imaginable luxury. Even today, the word Epicurean is often used to describe fine dining or the pursuit of expensive pleasures. But the truth is, Epicurus would have been shocked by that interpretation. For him, pleasure was not about extravagance, it was about the absence of pain, the presence of peace, and the cultivation of a life so simple that joy could naturally arise without being chased. His philosophy, born in ancient Greece more than 2,000 years ago, still speaks to us in an age where more is never enough, where we keep adding noise to life instead of subtracting it. Epicurus was born in 341 BCE on the island of Samos, a small speck of land in the Aegean Sea. He came into a world shaped by the legacy of Aristotle and Plato, but he took a different path. While many philosophers of his time focused on politics, metaphysics, and the nature of the cosmos, Epicurus turned his attention inward, toward the human condition, toward the daily anxieties and desires that make or break a life. He believed that philosophy wasn't something you read in books and debated in the marketplace, it was something you practiced every day, something that should heal the soul the way medicine heals the body. When Epicurus was about 18, he traveled to Athens, the intellectual capital of the Greek world. He studied under different teachers, absorbing ideas from various schools, but he quickly found himself dissatisfied with the abstract debates of the academy and the endless logic games of the other philosophers. Epicurus wanted philosophy to be useful, to have practical value. What's the point of knowing the structure of the heavens if you can't sleep at night because of your fears and desires? He saw that people's greatest sufferings came not from hunger or war but from within, from fear of death, fear of the gods, fear of the unknown, and an unending hunger for more than they had. So he set out to create a school that would address those fears and quiet that hunger. Around 306 BCE, he founded the Garden, a philosophical community in Athens. Unlike most schools of the time, the Garden was open to women and even to slaves, a radical idea in ancient Greece. There, his students lived together, practiced simple living, and discussed philosophy, not to impress others, but to actually live better. It was not about showing off knowledge, but about applying it. The heart of Epicurus's teaching can be summed up in one line: pleasure is the beginning and the end of the blessed life. But to understand him, you must understand what he meant by pleasure. He didn't mean endless indulgence. In fact, he warned against it. He divided pleasures into two types, those that lead to peace of mind and those that lead to disturbance. Eating a simple meal when you are hungry is a pure pleasure, it satisfies you without harm. But feasting endlessly on rich foods, drinking excessively, or chasing wild desires, these may bring momentary excitement, but they create new pains, sickness, dependency, dissatisfaction. Epicurus believed that true pleasure was found in moderation, in choosing what truly benefits you and letting go of what only brings momentary highs followed by lasting lows. He also spoke of three kinds of desires: natural and necessary desires, like food, shelter, and friendship; natural but unnecessary desires, like fine foods and luxury; and vain desires, like fame, wealth, and power. The wise person, he said, learns to fulfill the first category, enjoy the second in moderation, and avoid the third entirely. To him, the more you desire, the less free you are. Every desire you carry is a chain, and only by breaking those chains can you truly enjoy life. One of the most revolutionary aspects of Epicurus's philosophy was his view on fear, especially the fear of death and the fear of the gods. In his time, people lived in constant anxiety about divine punishment. They believed the gods controlled human fate, and the thought of angering them could cause deep dread. Epicurus broke that fear with one simple idea: the gods, if they exist, are not concerned with human affairs. They live in a state of perfect peace and happiness, untouched by our struggles. Therefore, they neither punish nor reward us. This was liberating. If the gods are not against us, we are free from the terror of divine wrath. As for death, Epicurus offered one of the most comforting lines in all of philosophy: death is nothing to us. Why? Because when we are alive, death is not present. And when death comes, we are no longer here to experience anything. There is no pain, no suffering after death, only nothingness. If you can truly accept that, then the fear of death, which shadows so many lives, begins to dissolve. And without that fear, life feels lighter. Epicurus also placed immense value on friendship. He called it one of the greatest sources of pleasure in life. In the garden, friendship was not about networking or status, it was about mutual care, trust, and joy. Friends supported each other in simple living, encouraged each other to face fears, and reminded each other of what truly mattered. In many ways, the garden was an early version of a supportive community, a place where people could belong without judgment. But why does this matter to us now, in a world so different from his? Because our struggles aren't so different from those of ancient Athens. We are still plagued by endless desires. We still fear death, illness, and the unknown. We still chase wealth, fame, and approval, thinking they will bring happiness, only to find ourselves restless and unfulfilled. Epicurus's advice is as relevant today as it was then. Simplify your desires, cherish true friendships, free yourself from fear, and seek pleasures that leave no aftertaste of regret. In our modern world, the temptation is to believe that happiness comes from addition, from adding more possessions, more status, more experiences. Epicurus flips that belief upside down. He says happiness comes from subtraction, from removing unnecessary desires, from letting go of fears, from simplifying life until what's left is enough. He lived this truth. His own diet was famously modest: bread, olives, and water. He said that if you want to make a man rich, don't give him more money, reduce his desires. Imagine living by that principle today. Instead of craving the newest phone, the biggest house, the latest fashion, you find contentment in what you already have. Instead of fearing death and trying to escape aging, you embrace the natural flow of life. Instead of scrolling endlessly through social media in search of validation, you invest your time in real human connection. Epicurus's way is not about rejecting pleasure, it's about choosing the kind of pleasure that makes life rich without making it restless. He also knew that mental discipline is key. Just as we train the body to be fit, we must train the mind to be free from harmful desires. That's why he encouraged regular reflection, asking yourself what you truly need, what fears are holding you back, and which pleasures are worth pursuing. This is not a denial of life, it's an embrace of it. By removing the noise, you can hear life's music more clearly. Epicurus died in 270 BCE, but even in his final days, he remained faithful to his teachings. Suffering from a painful illness, he wrote to his friends that he was still filled with joy, joy from remembering their conversations, joy from the life he had lived. His calm acceptance in the face of pain and death was the ultimate proof that his philosophy was not just words, but a way of being. If you take one lesson from Epicurus, let it be this: happiness is not something you chase to the ends of the earth. It's something you cultivate right where you are, with what you have, by choosing wisely what you allow into your life and what you let go of. In a world obsessed with having more, be the one who finds joy in needing less. Because when your needs are few, your peace is great, and in that peace, you will discover the deepest pleasure of all.